Good morning, everybody. Monday, doing my route, and here's the first stand down where they didn't want it cut because, well, the lawns have slowed down. But the problem of it is they don't think to call you, and then you get there and they're like, well, I don't really need cut. And it's like, well, I've already kind of spent my money coming here, and you don't have, this is on the customers that are not on a monthly account. On the monthly accounts, I just decide when it's time to, and the first two that I did this morning, I'm at that point where I couldn't hardly tell where I'd mowed. So they're gonna probably go to 2 weeks here after the next cut or now. But the challenge of this time of year is, like, you don't know how to schedule your day because you don't know how many people are gonna decline service, and you spend as much time and effort running around to not mow as you did to mow. So it gets frustrating because there's also no revenue from not mowing. So this is not the time of year I like. I like when your services are needed. Obviously, you're in demand, and it's just a matter of how many you can get to, how quickly. That's my preference. But of course, we have seasons that dictate that that's not what's going to happen all year. And then, see, where it comes in is you want to transition to your other gig or something. Like I was going to do Bobcat work, or finally catch up on some infrastructure improvements at the house for the business, like the lift for the trucks or the second building for the equipment. And you can't, while you're out here running around not mowing, and not knowing that you're not going to be mowing, because you can't keep up with 100 people's different phone numbers. You can't be calling 100 different people to find out where you're standing as far as mowing. Then at the same time that you're not getting anything done here, not bringing in revenue, you're also not getting anything done at the house on shop time or infrastructure or side gigs or anything. So that's why I don't really care for this, but it is part of the business. One other thing that comes up is, as I just experienced, on the street over, I had 5 yards that didn't need cut yet. And we're kind of like at a borderline where it may make it through till next week, but we decided, the majority of those customers decided that they'll give it a shot, see if we're ready for a 2-week schedule. So then when you come over to the next street over, if you got a customer that's saying, oh, well, I don't know, then you got a problem, because when I first took her on, for instance, her yard was tall and she didn't have a problem with it, which tells me that I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to figure out if this one's going to have to be cut. Anyway, what's wrong there is you just don't want, you want to try to take control there and say, look, I know from past experience, the cut height, the way it was when I started here, that that you're probably ready for a 2-week schedule. But if I cut it today, then you won't want it cut tomorrow, and then, or I mean, not tomorrow, next week. So on the weeks, the week I'm cutting you, I won't be cutting the next street over. And the week I'm cutting the next street over, I won't be cutting you, and that's not beneficial to me because I'm coming to this town and I need you guys to be in sync, And it's not easy to do, but you kind of got to say, well, this is my business and this is the way I'm going to run it. And you're at risk of offending, but if you explain it, I think then they'll understand, because it doesn't make sense for me to run over to this town to do Monroe Street lawns this week on Monday, and then next week on Monday you're doing Harrison Street, when they can all be done on the same week. But it's at this crucial point of time that you got to get them in sync. You got to exert your will as to, because she was borderline. She was like, oh, I could, cut it. And I kind of got the impression from some of her comments she would prefer that I cut it this week. But the problem with that is like I said, then it would not be ready to cut next week when I'm over here cutting the other lawns. So anyway, that's just another challenge of this time of the year, season change. I couldn't find my phone, so I couldn't get no video, but what I got is tanks pulled on this boxer. Lawns, obviously, I didn't, I got a lot of the lawns didn't need cut this week because we're getting into that time of year. So putting my time towards getting some shop stuff done. So the tanks were full of water and stuff. I still have to clean them out. And if anybody's working on one of these, just so you know, accessible. Right here was one of the mounting bolts, and it was accessible from inside here. And it was a hex head, half inch hex head. And then the second mounting bolt is a Allen head. I don't know what size because my Allen wrenches are a mess and they're off the thing. And that Allen head was mounted between this valve body. So the two pipes that come down and go to the wheel motor, the Allen head sits right between those two pipes. And when I put it back together, I'm going to make sure I anti-seize those threads, because if they twist the nut out of the tanks, then you got a big problem. You know what I mean? So on this situation, you want to use a lot of anti-seize on them threads, and you don't have to worry about it rattling out because you got a split lock washer. Now, if you didn't have the split lock washer, well, you wouldn't do that in this circumstance. The mounting, the proper hardware for this circumstance is to use the split lock washer and keep the threads juicy, because anytime that you've taken a tank off of a mower, you know what I'm talking about. If those threads become seized, and see, these were getting there, see the rust? If those threads become seized into the tank, then it spins that nut inside the plastic, and then you're really up the creek. So, all right, so I'm gonna flush them tanks out, change out the fuel lines. I may tear into the carb, or I may have my friend do it because he's going to be using it, so I don't know exactly which way that'll go. I may just do it here because I may not be able to get it running good enough to get it to his house. He's a good at that kind of work, but it may have to be done here. All right, I'm going to get back to work. Catch you later. So that video was down at my son's house, and he was like, somebody hit the pole. And I was thinking it was the pole by the house, so I was trying to get through town real quick to get it taken care of, not knowing what was going on. But that pole was on, that was the power company's pole, so I didn't have to worry about it. But as you can see, there wasn't much room for the people in the car when that transformer fell down on top of it. But whoever it was running, and they jumped out of the car and ran away, so it must have been a stolen car. Well, I got to drive clear back to where I was this morning to do a quote for a real estate company. So it feels like I'm just spinning my wheels, man. I mean, too bad that call didn't come in this morning when I was in that area. And then, of course, you know how quotes are. You never know if you're going to get the job or not. So I'm going to wrap up anything I'm going to videotape for today, because it's just kind of like total chaos. It's not comfortable for me. I like middle of season where you're just mowing, you know. So this is an adjustment I'm going to try to make and get used to being able to be more flexible and do random stuff. All right, I'll catch you later. Have a good day.